Please, anything helps. Spare some change for a homeless veteran. God bless you.
Marcus Webb's cardboard sign read, "Homeless veteran. Anything helps. God bless." He sat against the brick wall outside the Bellagio Casino in Las Vegas, his back pressed against the cold stone, his worn Marine Corps jacket wrapped tight against the desert night. 53 years old, 20 years of service, 3 tours in Iraq, and now this. A crumpled dollar bill landed in his coffee cup. Marcus nodded his thanks to the elderly woman who'd dropped it. She smiled sadly and kept walking. He wasn't asking for much, just enough for a meal, maybe a motel room if he got lucky. His VA benefits had been delayed again, some paperwork issue they couldn't explain. His daughter wouldn't return his calls, and the shelter was full. So here he sat, outside a casino where people won and lost millions, while he just tried to survive another night. "Hey!" Marcus looked up. 3 men in black security uniforms stood over him. The one in front, Brad, according to his name tag, had his arms crossed and a cruel smile on his face. "You're loitering," Brad said. "I'm not bothering anyone," Marcus replied quietly. "Just sitting here." "You're bad for business. Rich people don't like seeing homeless trash when they're trying to have a good time." Marcus felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his voice calm. 20 years in the Marines had taught him discipline. "I'm a veteran. I served this country. I'm just trying to—" "I don't care if you're George Washington. Move. Now." Marcus stood slowly, his knees aching from the cold concrete. He picked up his cardboard sign and his coffee cup with its $3.17. "I'm leaving," he said. "No trouble." "Too late for that." Brad shoved him, hard. Marcus stumbled backward, dropping his cup. Coins scattered across the sidewalk. Before he could react, the second security guard grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his back. "You're trespassing," Brad said, loud enough for the gathering crowd to hear, "and you're resisting." "I'm not resisting." The first punch hit Marcus in the stomach. The air exploded from his lungs. He doubled over, and that's when the kicks started. One to his ribs, another to his back, a third to his face that sent him sprawling onto the concrete. Blood filled his mouth. His vision blurred. Through the pain he heard voices, tourists gasping, someone yelling to stop, a woman screaming to call the police. But the security guards didn't stop. Brad pulled Marcus up by his jacket, his Marine Corps jacket, with the purple heart patch sewn on the shoulder, and slammed him against the wall. "Learn your place," he hissed. He raised his fist for another punch. "That's enough." The voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "Welcome back to the channel. Before we find out who just stepped in to save Marcus, I need to know, where are you watching from? Comment your country below right now. United States? Philippines? United Kingdom? Nigeria? Last video, we had viewers from 52 countries. Let's beat that record. And if you want to see what happens when someone finally stands up for this veteran, hit that subscribe button. Now back to the story. Brad froze, his fists still raised, his face going pale. Marcus, barely conscious, turned his head. A man was walking toward them. Mid-40s, 6 feet tall, custom Italian suit that probably cost more than Marcus had earned in a year. Dark hair slicked back, face carved from granite, and eyes. Cold, dark eyes that promised violence. 2 bodyguards flanked him, hands inside their jackets. The casino entrance doors opened, and more men in suits poured out. Not security, something else. Something dangerous. "Mr. DeLuca," Brad stammered, "we were just—" "You were just beating a homeless man," DeLuca said quietly, "in front of my casino." "Your casino?" I own 40% of the Bellagio, which means I own you. DeLuca's voice never rose, but somehow it filled the entire street. Step away from him. Brad and the other guards backed up immediately. DeLuca knelt beside Marcus, his expensive suit touching the dirty concrete without hesitation. He reached out, gently turning Marcus's face toward the light. Then he stopped. His eyes locked on Marcus's jacket, on the purple heart patch, on the unit insignia below it. 2nd Battalion 5th Marines. DeLuca's face transformed. Shock. Recognition. Something that looked like grief. When? He asked hoarsely. When did you serve? Marcus coughed blood. 2004 to 2008. Ramadi. Fallujah. Fallujah. DeLuca's hands were shaking. There was a squad pinned down. Insurgents on all sides. They were going to die. But someone, a Marine they didn't know, came in with covering fire. Saved 8 men. One of them was my little brother, Anthony DeLuca. Marcus's vision was fading, but something in those words pulled him back. Anthony? Kid from New York? Wanted to be a teacher? DeLuca made a sound between a laugh and a sob. Yes, he's alive because of you. He's a teacher now. Has 2 kids. Here's my question for you. If you walked past Marcus on that street, would you stop and help, or would you keep walking like everyone else did? Be honest. Comment below, because what DeLuca does next is something most people would never have the courage to do. He stood abruptly, turning to Brad. You just beat a Medal of Honor-worthy Marine, a man who saved my brother's life, my brother who held me when our father died, my brother who is the only family I have left. Brad was shaking. Mr. DeLuca, I didn't know. You didn't care. DeLuca made a small gesture. His bodyguards moved forward. You saw a homeless veteran and decided he was trash. So let me show you what happens to trash in my city. Please. Take them, DeLuca ordered. All 3. I'll decide what to do with them later. The bodyguards grabbed the security guards. Brad tried to resist. He received one punch to the face that dropped him instantly. They were dragged away. DeLuca knelt again beside Marcus. Can you stand? He asked gently. I think maybe. DeLuca slid his arm under Marcus's shoulders and lifted him with surprising strength. He half-carried Marcus towards the casino entrance, where a black Mercedes was already pulling up. Mr. DeLuca, Marcus mumbled. You don't have to. Yes, I do. DeLuca's voice was firm. You saved my brother, which means you saved me, and I always pay my debts. He helped Marcus into the Mercedes. Where are we going? Marcus asked. Hospital first, then we talk. But I'll tell you this right now, Marcus Webb. You're never sleeping on a street again, not while I'm alive. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in 3 years, they weren't tears of despair. Why? He whispered. Why do you care? DeLuca looked at him with an expression that mixed grief, gratitude, and something like rage. Because 18 years ago, you ran into hell to save my brother, and nobody, not the VA, not this city, not those animals who beat you, nobody gets to treat you like you're worthless. He paused. You're a hero, Marcus. It's time someone reminded you of that. The Mercedes pulled away from the casino, and Marcus Webb's life changed forever.
The private wing of Sunrise Hospital smelled of money and antiseptic. Marcus lay in a bed softer than anything he'd touched in years, staring at the ceiling while nurses quietly checked machines that cost more than most cars. His broken ribs were wrapped, his split lip stitched. A warm IV dripped painkillers into his vein. For the first time since Fallujah, someone was taking care of him instead of trying to kill him. The door opened. Vincent DeLuca walked in alone. No bodyguards, no entourage. Just a paper bag in one hand and a thick folder in the other. "How you feeling, Marine?" he asked, voice softer than on the street. "Like I got hit by a Humvee," Marcus rasped, then managed half a smile. "But I've had worse." DeLuca pulled the chair close and sat. He placed the bag on the rolling table. "Egg and sausage biscuit from that diner on Boulder Highway you used to love. Anthony told me stories. Said you once traded your only cigarette for a kid's Pokemon card just to make him laugh during a sandstorm." Marcus's eyes watered. "Kid was 9. Homesick. Cards were all he had." DeLuca opened the folder. Inside, a Nevada driver's license with Marcus's photo, but new, clean-shaven, taken that morning while he slept. A Social Security card, a platinum credit card with his name embossed, and a set of keys. "I don't understand," Marcus whispered. "You will." DeLuca's tone turned business sharp. "First, the 3 animals who touched you, Brad and his friends, are in a warehouse outside Henderson right now. They still work for the casino, on paper. Tomorrow, they'll sign resignation letters. Then they disappear from Vegas, permanently. You will never see them again. That's not a question." Marcus swallowed. In the core, he saw what disappear could mean. Part of him recoiled. Another part, the part that still had bruises shaped like boot prints, felt something dark and satisfied. "Second, your VA benefits were delayed because someone flagged your file for fraud. Fixed. Full retroactive pay hits your new account in 72 hours. $187,000. Marcus's breath stopped. "Third," he slid a photograph across the blanket. "A house. Not a mansion. Just a modest, single-story stucco with a lemon tree in front and a detached garage. Quiet street in Henderson. American flag on the porch. It's paid for. Title in your name. Closing happened an hour ago." Marcus stared at the photo like it might vanish. "Why?" he asked again, voice cracking. "You don't even know me." DeLuca leaned forward, elbows on knees. "November 14th, 2004, Fallujah. My brother Anthony was in a 2-story house with 7 other Marines. Insurgents had them zeroed, RPGs coming through the windows. They were down to their last mags, radio dead. Then, a lone Marine none of them knew ran across open ground with an M249, laid down suppressive fire, dragged 2 wounded guys out, and held that corner alone for 12 minutes until QRF arrived." DeLuca's eyes never left Marcus's. "That Marine was you. Anthony told me the name the day he came home. Marcus Webb. I was 27, already making money in ways the government doesn't like. I swore if I ever found you, I'd spend every dollar I had making sure you never wanted for anything again." Marcus closed his eyes. He remembered that day. Remembered the smell of cordite and blood. Remembered thinking he was going to die. He never knew the men he saved made it out. "I was just doing my job," he said. "No, you did what heroes do, and heroes don't sleep under bridges in my city." Silence stretched. Finally, Marcus spoke, barely above a whisper. "My daughter, Sarah, she's 26 now, lives in Phoenix. Hasn't spoken to me since I came back broken. Thinks I'm a drunk, a failure." DeLuca slid another paper across. "Plane tickets. Tomorrow morning. Las Vegas to Phoenix. Then we fix that, too." Here's my question to every single one of you watching right now. If your father, who once saved 8 lives in war, showed up at your door tomorrow after years of silence, homeless and broken, would you slam the door or would you open your arms? Be 100% honest in the comments. Because what Sarah does when Marcus knocks on her door in Chapter 3 is going to shock a lot of you. Marcus tried to sit up, wincing. Mr. DeLuca, Vincent, I can't take all this. You're not taking. You earned it in blood I can never repay. Vincent stood. One more thing. Tomorrow night there's a fundraiser at the Bellagio, Wounded Warriors Project. Black tie, 10,000 a plate. I bought the whole table. You're my guest of honor. Marcus laughed, a broken sound. I don't even own a suit. You do now. He pointed to the closet. Inside hung a tailored midnight blue tuxedo and polished black shoes. And every veteran in Nevada is about to learn your name. He walked to the door, then paused. Get some sleep, Marcus. Tomorrow, the world finds out who you really are. The door clicked shut. Marcus stared at the ceiling again, tears sliding into his ears. For the first time in 15 years, he wasn't afraid of tomorrow. But across town, in a small apartment filled with the glow of a phone screen, Sarah Webb opened an anonymous email. Subject line, "Your father needs you." Attached was a single photograph of Marcus in the hospital bed, bruised and bandaged, holding the picture of the house with her childhood address written on the back. Her hand shook as she read the message beneath it. He's coming tomorrow. He's not the man you think he is. He never was. The phone slipped from her fingers and clattered to the floor.
The plane touched down in Phoenix at 11:07 a.m. Marcus hadn't flown commercial in 15 years. Vincent had booked him first class anyway, right at the front where the flight attendant kept calling him sir and refilling his coffee without being asked. He wore a simple navy blazer Vincent insisted on, khakis, and the only pair of shoes he now owned that weren't held together with duct tape. In the inside pocket was a letter he'd written at 3 a.m. in the hospital, hands shaking, tears blotting the ink. Sarah, if you close the door, I'll understand. I just needed you to know I never stopped loving you. Dad. The Uber dropped him in front of a sun-bleached apartment complex in Mesa. Kids' bikes littered the courtyard. He stood there 10 minutes, rehearsing words he'd practiced 1,000 times in his head and still couldn't get right. Apartment 206. He climbed the stairs slowly, ribs still screamed with every step. He knocked 3 times. Soft. Nothing. Knocked again. The door flew open. Sarah stood there in nurse's scrubs, hair in a messy bun, eyes red like she hadn't slept. 26, going on 40. For a long second, they just stared. She looked older, beautiful, furious, heartbroken all at once. "You have some nerve," she whispered. Sarah. "You left, Dad. You came back from Iraq a ghost, and you left. Mom cried herself to death while you disappeared into bottles. And now you show up looking like—" her voice cracked. "Like someone actually gives a damn?" Marcus reached into his pocket with trembling fingers and held out the letter. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say I'm sorry to your face." She didn't take it. "Do you know what it was like getting that email? Some stranger telling me my father was beaten half to death in Vegas, that he's flying here. I thought it was a scam or a joke. I almost deleted it." "I wouldn't blame you." Sarah's chin trembled. "Why now?" "Because someone reminded me I'm still alive and that I still have a daughter." That broke her. She stepped forward and punched him in the chest, not hard, just once, like she was making sure he was real, then buried her face in his shoulder. Marcus wrapped his arms around her like he used to when she was 5 and the world was too loud. They stayed like that until a neighbor's door closed somewhere and startled them both. "Come inside," she mumbled into his blazer. "Before Mrs. Garcia calls the cops for loitering." The apartment smelled like vanilla candles and coffee. Toys on the floor. A little boy with Sarah's eyes peeked from behind the couch. "Mommy, who's that?" Sarah wiped her face quickly. "This is my dad. Your grandpa." The boy, Ethan, 4 years old, walked over and stared at Marcus's bruised face without fear. "You look like a superhero who lost a fight," he announced. Marcus laughed through fresh tears. "Pretty much, buddy." Sarah poured coffee. Neither of them drank. "Mom died 2 years ago," she said quietly. "Liver failure. I tried to find you." "I know." Marcus's voice was gravel. "I was in and out of jails, shelters. I'm clean now, 2 years sober. I just didn't know how to come back." She nodded, biting her lip. "The email said someone helped you. A rich guy?" "Vincent DeLuca. His brother was one of the Marines I pulled out of Fallujah. He found me getting the hell beat out of me outside the Bellagio." Sarah's eyes widened. "You're the viral veteran? That video's everywhere. 3 million views already." Marcus hadn't known it. "Vincent wants me in Vegas tonight. Some big fundraiser, guest of honor. I told him I wasn't leaving without seeing you first." Sarah looked at her son, then at Marcus. "Ethan's dad split when he was born. It's been us. Just us." She took a shaky breath. "I have tomorrow off. Booked already. I was going to drive to Vegas and try to find you myself." Marcus felt the floor tilt. "Pack a bag. Both of you. Vincent put me in a suite bigger than this whole building. There's a kid's pool and everything. Come with me, just for the weekend. Please." Ethan tugged Sarah's sleeve. "Mommy, can we see the fountains that dance?" Sarah looked at Marcus for a long, searching moment. Then she smiled. The first real smile he'd seen from her in 15 years. "Only if Grandpa promises to win me a stuffed animal." Marcus laughed so hard his ribs protested. "Deal." 6 hours later, a black Suburban picked them up. Ethan pressed his face to the window the whole drive, shouting every time he saw the strip lights. They pulled up to the Bellagio at dusk. Vincent waited at the VIP entrance in a tuxedo, flanked by 2 men in suits and a red carpet that definitely hadn't been there yesterday. When he saw Sarah and Ethan climb out behind Marcus, something softened in his face. "Family?" he asked. Marcus swallowed. "Yeah, my daughter, my grandson." Vincent crouched to Ethan's level. "You like magic, little man?" Ethan nodded shyly. "Good, because tonight this whole place is magic." He stood and offered Sarah his hand. "Ms. Webb, your father saved my family once. Let me return the favor." Inside, the ballroom glittered. 500 people in gowns and tuxedos. A banner across the stage, "Honoring Heroes, a night for wounded warriors." Marcus froze. His face, younger, in dress blues, was projected 30 feet tall behind the podium. Vincent leaned close. "You ready, Marine?" Marcus looked at Sarah holding Ethan's hand, both of them staring at him like he was someone new. He straightened his shoulders, ignoring the pain in his ribs. "Lead the way." The lights dimmed. A spotlight hit him. Vincent took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, 18 years ago, one man ran into hell so 8 others could live. Tonight, Las Vegas gets to say thank you." The room rose in a standing ovation before Marcus even reached the stage. And for the first time since the war, Marcus Webb didn't feel invisible. But in the shadows near the back exit, a man in a cheap suit watched the scene with cold eyes, phone to his ear. "Yeah, he's here, with DeLuca. Time to remind them both some debts never really get paid." The ballroom erupted. Cameras flashed. People wept openly as Marcus stood on stage in the tuxedo Vincent had made for him, Purple Heart now pinned to his chest where it belonged. The MC handed him a crystal plaque that read, "Marcus Webb, an American hero." Sarah stood beside him, tears streaming, holding Ethan on her hip. Vincent stayed one step behind, eyes scanning the crowd like a wolf guarding his pack. Marcus tried to speak. The microphone shook in his hand. I don't know what to say," he started, voice cracking. "3 nights ago I was sleeping under a bridge with $3 and a coffee cup. Tonight," he looked at Sarah, "tonight I have my daughter back. I have a grandson. I have a reason to wake up tomorrow. That's worth more than any medal." The applause thundered again. Vincent took the mic. "This man is getting a new beginning, and every veteran in this room is getting a piece of it. Mr. Webb has personally pledged $1 million tonight." Gasps. Marcus spun toward him. "I did what?" Vincent grinned. "Your money now, brother. I just moved it for you." The crowd lost their minds. Later, in the private suite on the 35th floor, Ethan finally crashed on a mountain of pillows watching cartoons. Sarah stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, staring at the dancing fountains below. Marcus joined her, 2 glasses of sparkling water in his hands. "I still can't believe this is real," she whispered. "It's real," he said. "And tomorrow we pick out furniture for the house. Your house, too, if you want it." She turned, eyes fierce. "We're not leaving you again, ever." They hugged like they were anchoring each other to the earth. Vincent knocked once and stepped in, face grim. "We have a problem." He held up a phone, a grainy photo, Marcus, Sarah, and Ethan leaving the hospital yesterday. Text beneath it, "Pretty family. Shame if something happened." Marcus's blood froze. "Who?" he asked. "Old business. Before I went legitimate. A man I buried in the desert owes people in New York. They think hurting you hurts me." Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Vincent locked eyes with Marcus. "I can make this go away tonight, the same way I made those security guards disappear. But I won't do it without your word. You're the only man in this city whose permission I need." Marcus looked at his daughter, at his sleeping grandson. Then he looked at Vincent. Really looked. "No," he said. "No, no more disappearing. We do this clean. Cops, FBI, whatever it takes." Vincent smiled, small and proud. "That's the Marine I knew." An hour later, FBI agents swarmed the suite. Statements, photos, protection details assigned. The men in the cheap suit were arrested before sunrise. Turns out threatening a nationally celebrated hero on every news channel makes you real easy to find. By morning, Marcus Webb was on the front page of every paper in America. Homeless veteran turned national hero saves charity law and his family. 2 weeks later, the house in Henderson smelled like fresh paint and lemon from the tree out front. Ethan ran through the backyard chasing bubbles while Sarah grilled steaks on a brand new barbecue. Marcus sat on the porch steps in a plain white t-shirt, watching them like he was afraid they'd vanish. Vincent's Mercedes pulled up. He stepped out carrying a small wooden box. "One last thing," he said, handing it over. Inside, a folded American flag in a triangle case and a Silver Star medal, the one from Fallujah the Corps never got around to pinning on him. "Paperwork finally caught up," Vincent said softly. "Congratulations, Sergeant Webb." Marcus stared at the medal until his eyes blurred. Vincent crouched so they were eye level. "You paid your debt 18 years ago. I just balanced the books." Marcus hugged him, 2 brothers who never shared blood but shared something deeper. Sarah called from the backyard. "Dinner's ready. Get in here before Ethan eats all the brownies." Vincent laughed. "I like her. She's bossy. She gets it from her mother." They walked inside together.
Marcus paused at the door, looked back at the flag flying on his porch, at the silver star in his hand, at the laughter coming from his kitchen. 3 weeks ago, he had nothing. Tonight, he had everything. And for the rest of his life, Marcus Webb never spent another night on the street. He never had to beg again. He never felt invisible again. Because sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they just wear an old Marine jacket with a purple heart patch. And sometimes the universe finally remembers what they're worth. Guys, when I first posted stories like this, my own mom told me, "Nobody's going to watch a channel about sad old men and karma. You'll never hit 100,000 subscribers. Give up." If this story touched even one piece of your heart tonight, please, prove her wrong for me. Just one like, one subscribe. It's not about the numbers. It's about showing her that stories of real heroes still matter. Let's hit that red button together right now and make this the biggest night this channel has ever seen. I love every single one of you. See you in the next one. Thank you for coming on this journey with Marcus. Now go hug someone you love. Life's too damn short.